Okay, hi, good evening. This is Sneha from Pune, and I will be teaching you signature analysis for the next 4 hours. So, basically, this is a part of Psycho Shiksha, and I will be letting you know what exactly signature analysis means, what all aspects are required to learn and to uh, analyze when you're analyzing anybody's signature. Before we analyze somebody else's signature, I would request you to analyze your own signature and make required changes or necessary changes if that need arises, and then move to analyzing somebody else's signature. Now, signature analysis basically, signature is something which is your professional signature, or it is your public image. It also means that how you want to be seen by the world is what your signature represents. So whenever we go to a bank, or whenever we want to submit a legal document, we put up a signs over there. The process takes longer days, or the process takes 1 or 2 days for your legal document to come to you, right? So obviously, we do not wait in the government office until we get our documents back, or until we do not get the document with us. Our signature does the work, right? So that's the reason why signatures are important. And what exactly signature stands for, or why signatures are important in our day-to-day lives, is something that we all need to understand. Point number two, signature and signatures, even if they work as your public image, it also speaks about how much confidence do you have to face the world, how much, how strong your beliefs are about a particular thing, and are you an outgoing person, or an extrovert, or an introvert. All these things are we get to know from our signatures. Also, another thing about signatures is that obviously it works as your public image, and it works in your absence. It also speaks a lot about what you as a person are. Now, I being a signature analyst or a graphologist, I get to know you, or the person in front of me, as the person is. Just from the signature, I can get to know about all these things. Now, other than that, signature obviously holds a lot of weightage, especially during your legal documents, or even for your bank documents, for processing loans and everything. So, just by making a few changes in your handwriting or in your signatures, you will obviously excel a lot in your career as well. So let's start off what actually signature means. Now, here's one particular disclaimer. Even though signature is something that I'm going to teach you today, how to look at signatures, how to make different changes, what is the ideal signature that you would be requiring, or uh, that you need to sign, basically. All these things are I am going to teach to you. But one particular thing that we all need to remember, or rather you all need to remember, is signatures is something which is supposed to be done along with the content written on the page, right? So, say for example, this is an A4 size sheet paper. Okay. Now, when I am speaking about A4 sheet size paper, this is a blank A4 size sheet. When I am using this paper, I write my content from top to three-fourth of the page. Okay, let's assume that the three-fourth ends somewhere here. Okay, now the remaining part over here is the space where I am going to sign, or anybody is going to sign, any of your client. Okay, now once the signature is being put up, the weightage given to the entire content and the signature, or the analysis the weightage for analysis is 80% goes for the content and 20% is for the signatures. That is how it actually works. I am going to speak about the signatures in detail, but about the content, I won't be able to speak right now. So is this 4 days workshop or 4 hours workshop. I am going to speak only about the signatures. I am not going to speak about graphology in detail. Okay. Another thing that I would like to let you know is that always it's about the 80 to 20% weightage that we are going to work out. So whenever you take a sample from a human being, from a person, see to it that the person writes down on an A4 size sheet paper, compulsory an A4 size blank A4 size sheet. Okay. But the person writes the content three-fourth of on three-fourth of the page, and one-fourth remains for putting their official signature 3 times. Okay. So there's a reason behind why we take the signature for 3 times. The official signature is taken 3 times for just one reason, to understand if to understand the similarity, or to understand if the sign is exactly the same when they are doing it thrice. Okay. I am also going to speak about uh, uh, why signatures are important in our day-to-day lives. Another thing is, as a signature analyst, when you are going to work as a signature analyst, you need to remember that each and every trait that you see in the person or in your client, that needs to be conveyed in such a way that the person is not offended. So that's a very must point, or the basic point that we all need to remember. The only reason being is, people are going to come to you via mouth publicity. Not everybody is going to uh, keep looking your Instagram pages or your YouTube channels, or not going to follow you that way. People mostly, even today, come to you because of mouth publicity. So the more you be polite with people and convey your message to them without hurting their feelings, the more people will come to you. That's point number one. Another point number two is, even if you understand a few negative traits about the person from the signature, see to it that you convey it in a positive manner to them, so that those people are not hurt, we do not hurt their feelings. And another thing is, people are not offended by what you're saying. Yeah. So with this, I mean, these are the very basic points that we all need to remember in any case. Now I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know once the screen is visible to all of you. Yeah. So your takeaways for this signature analysis session is, this course will help you understand and analyze your own signature, and later it will help you to analyze others signatures as well. Accordingly, you can make changes in your official signature if need arises. Okay. So I'm not forcing anybody for you to, you know, your signature must be changed. I'm not going to threaten anybody over here. I'm just letting you know that certain changes, if you make in your signature, it will help you for the betterment. So let's start off now. The purpose of this workshop is to make understand people what profound meaning is attached to their signatures, to make people aware about their strengths and weaknesses, and how small changes can bring positive change in their lives. Now, as I've already earlier said, a signature is as good as having the person standing right in front of you. A signature is the only formation that the writer does very consciously, right? Now, it bears the most distinct impression of his or her personality and the mindset. Obviously, a signature is a personal logo of a person. Now, such a signature gains a lot of importance, and every graphologist considers the signature, along with writing, before passing a firm opinion. So we all need to remember this one particular thing. The signature is something like the person is standing right in front of you. Now, the general definition of a signature can be said that a signature is a seal uh, of identity of the writer. The signature mainly shows the public face of the person. It connects the writer with his or her actions. Now, there is something called as thoughts which keep coming in our mind. Now, thoughts when are changed into words or when they come out from our mouth, it becomes words. Now, words eventually turn into action. Action eventually turns into our habits, and habits eventually make the person's character, right? So this is a chain which we all keep on following, irrespective of who the human being is, irrespective of the gender. This is a very basic uh, line or a very basic thought which all of us follow. Now, when I say characteristic, it obviously does mean that every person has positive as well as negative traits, right? Now, how and what characteristics are displayed, whether they are positive or they are negative, that we get to know from the signature. Now, signature is the only formation in writing completely designed by the writer. This is something which we do it all by ourselves. No parent or no teacher or no friend tells you that, uh, this is how your signature should be, or this is how your signature, you can do your signature, right? So I remember when I was in my 10th standard, we were supposed to um, put, put our signatures on our 10th standard I-card, our 10th standard board exam I-card. So I had just made some random initials of my surname and I used that. Now, the thing is, that time I didn't realize that how much impact a signature makes or what actually our signature means. It just was being told by the teacher that you need to make your sign. So I just made up my sign for that particular week. Over a period of time, over the period of years, when I started learning graphology, when I did signature analysis, I realized that signature and our handwriting both hold a lot of weightage uh, over our career as well. So I asked my mentor, my sir, what changes do I make in my signature so that I will, mm, prosper or my career will grow in leaps and bounds. So, as in what he suggested me, I made a few changes, and my legal signature has been the same for past 12, 13 years. It has not changed at all. And I can see a lot of difference within my career growth as well. So, it does help. But the very first thing we all need to understand is we all need to believe this point that changes are not going to happen uh, within a click, changes are not going to um, happen within a day or two. It takes a lot of time. Over a period of time you will find changes. So now, even if you think consciously, the very first thing that you need to do is a thought over here that I need to change my signature. As soon as you uh, put that thought in your brain, automatically your actions will move accordingly, right? And I'm sorry, over a period of time, you will realize that your signature is changed from this point to this point, or your signature you can find out a drastic change which is seen in your signature and eventually in your life as well. So it's a two-way thing. You make changes in your thought process and your signature, your life starts changing. And as and when your life starts changing, you will realize how changing your handwriting and your signatures has impacted in your life. So that is how things actually work. Again, but as I've earlier just said, Rome was not built in a day. So please do not expect, like, some kind of magic that will happen to you when you have changed your signature. It will take a little time for you to realize the changes that are happened in your life. Now, again, uh, as I'm saying, the signature shows what the writer wants to show consciously as well as subconsciously to the people for them to see him or her. Okay. So, as of what I've said earlier, I want my people, or whom I communicate with, or whom I interact with on a daily basis, or even with strangers, I feel that this should be my image in front of the people, right? So, that we get to know, or that is done, that work is done by your signature. That is how it works. Now, this, as I've earlier said, always, 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 there's a 80 and 20% weightage for content and signature. That is how it works. Now, when we study signatures in comparison with the script, obviously you will get to know a lot many things about the people, a lot many traits of that particular person, a lot many positive as well as negative neutral traits, and you will uh, you know um, understand the deepest meaning or the deepest thought of that particular person. But this will happen only and only when you study that with comparison with the script that has been given to you. So, as I've earlier said, whenever you are taking a signature sample, do not take it just the signature. You always, always, always should have an A4 size blank sheet, and let the person write a content on any basic topic that they feel. We need not let them know the topic, any topic. If they at all are stuck, then maybe we can help them by giving some very neutral topics, like their thoughts on cricket, their thoughts on today's politics, or maybe about their first car, anything, right? So these could be a few basic neutral topics that we can give them to write for the content. Again, as I've earlier said, writing the content on three-fourth of the page, and one-fourth page, the space is being given for uh, signatures. Again, signatures, uh, three times official signature. Okay. Now the thing is, just like we are programmed when we were when we were children, we have been programmed both together by both the parents, with the by the mother as well as the father, right? So this programming that happens in our brain, or in any child's brain, is up to the seventh year of the child. This programming is done both equally by the mother as well as the father. Now, through this signature, the person is trying to say that I'm a product of my parents, and this is how I have been programmed. And this is what is seen from a person's signature. Now, why do signatures actually vary? Now, no two signatures you would see are all the same, right? There will always be some minute difference in a signature, be it anybody's signature. If all, if at all, two signatures are exactly identical, one of them is a forged signature. And a signature is a formation practiced over a period of time. It has a special place allotted in everybody's mind. So now imagine yourself, you are in a bank, or you are about to sign some very important legal document, right? Automatically, our brain becomes completely conscious for, because I'm going to sign, uh, I'm going to put my signature over here on this legal document. Automatically, we are conscious that, okay, now I'm going to do my work. This is the most important thing for what I have come, for what I've traveled for this long, right? So our brain is automatically become completely conscious on when we are going to sign a particular document. Let me just close this. Yeah. Now, anatomy of signature. Now, let's divide. We are now going to divide the signature. Any signature has four different parts. The first part is the self initial, the person's initial. Second part is the father's initial. The third part is the mother's initial, and the fourth part is the professional uh, part of the signature, or the person's profession is seen from the fourth part. So, say for example, A B Singh is the person's signature. A stands for the self initial. B stands for the father's initial. From the surname, the stands or represents the mother, and INGH of the signature is represented the represents the professional part of the person. This is how a signature is divided into four different parts. Now, you might question me, or you might ask me that, ma'am, but we do not sign it in this way. We would just sign our names, or I just write my initial and my uh, full surname. Or there could be people who would be, are do not write their father's name or their mother's name. Yeah. So I will speak to you about what an ideal signature should be or should look like, but I'm not going to again force you to change your signature. If it is feasible for you, and if you feel that, okay, I need some change in my life, maybe I can, then you can think of changing the signature. Another part over here is that, um, uh, when it comes to signature, we all need to remember that we always should have just one official signature. We cannot have 10 different signatures for 10 different places. Throughout all legal documents, there should be just one signature. That is what it's supposed to be followed, and it is supposed to be believed, right? Now, for a male, what exactly uh, a signature should look like. Also, before I move over here, there are some um, uh, religions or castes who prefer writing just their name and their surname, or just the initials and the full surname. So it is all up to you. I am not sitting over here, or I am not pinpointing any particular region from India, that these kind of people sign in this particular way, these kind of people sign in this particular way. No, I am not trying to do that. I am just letting you know that there are different uh, categories where people would be signing due to their religion, or due to their um, faith, or due to maybe, um, for ages, that is how it has been their way of writing the signature. So I am not pinpointing any religion over here, that आपके religion में ऐसे ही चलता है, आपके caste में ऐसे ही चलता है. No, I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just letting you know that if at all you feel that, okay, I can break this system, and I can start signing with my own name, or with my initials and my surname. That is all up to you. Now, the anatomy of a signature when it's divided for a male, what it actually looks like. Now, A stands for AB Singh. From A would be is the writer's initial. Here, the graphologist considers the height, width, legibility, illegibility, malformations for further analysis. The second part, that is the father's initial, is indicates the origin, place of origin of the writer as well as the father. Okay. From Singh, S indicates the mother before the marriage and wife and children after the marriage. And INGH of the surname indicates the occupation of the person and matters regarding to the occupation. Now, when I say that this fourth part, it indicates the writer's occupational areas and matters regarding. I am not going to understand, or we as graphologists or signature analysts won't be understanding what occupation the person is. We are not trying to rectify that part, or we are not going to uh, get to know if the person is a doctor or an engineer or a CA or a dancer or a musician or a philanthropist. We are not we will not be understanding that part from the signature. Let me be very clear with this. Over here, it just means that the person's uh, the fourth part, we would be letting people know, or if the person is in a good occupation, or is the person doing some activities from which the person wants to hide their occupation. All these things we get to know when we do a deep dive in graphology as well, or handwriting analysis altogether. We get to know even more better traits about the person. So over here, when I'm saying indicates writer's occupational areas, means that if the person is in a good profession or a bad profession, if the person is trying to act smart uh, in their occupation, or they are trying to play purposely trying to play dumb in the profession. These things is what something we get is something what we get to know from uh, the fourth part, from the profession. So we won't be understanding if the person is a uh, the person's profession or the occupation. Let me be very clear about this. Now, for a female, uh, again, if we divide it into four parts, first obviously stands for the female's uh, self initial, then second stands for the father, and post marriage, it would be standing for the husband. Uh, the first alphabet of the surname stands for the mother again, and for the rest of the words, the fourth part meaning, it stands for the professional and occupational matters, just like the male part. Now, analysis of the signature as a whole that I'm going to speak about right now. Over here, the uh, placement is one particular thing that we all get, that we all need to understand. So when I say placement, I'm speaking about the location of the signature with respect to the script ending on the page. So placements should only be studied when the writer has decided the location of the signature all by himself. So now what I'm trying to show you is, I'm going to stop sharing the screen and give me a minute. Now, as you can see over here, this is my page over here. Okay. Now, as you can see over here, I'm sorry, the camera is not very clear. So give me a minute. Yeah. Now, see over here, as you can see, I have, yeah, I have drawn the lines over here, assuming that it is a content written. And below, I'm going to sign my signature 3 times, official signature. So this is the placement that I'm going to speak about now. The vertical placement, that is point number 1. If I sign over here, from this point, I sign 3 times below, or from point number 2, if I sign 3 times below, or point number 3, if I sign from here 3 times below. Okay, this becomes the vertical placement. And for the horizontal placement, it would be 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so point number 1, if I sign over here 3 times from here ahead. Point number 2, if I sign first from here and ahead 3 times. And point number 3, if I sign here and 3 times from ahead from here. So this is how it is actually going to work for all of us. So this becomes the vertical placement and this becomes the horizontal placement. As you can see, it's a blank A4 size sheet, and we are assuming that the person has written the content for 3/4 of the page, and then they have signed their signature 3 times, official signature 3 times. So again, I'm sharing my screen. Screen is visible again for all of you. Okay, great. Now, when I'm speaking about the vertical placement, it also has some kind of indication. And when I speak about the horizontal placement, that too has some kind of indication. So the vertical placement indicates the degree to which the writer wants to be associated with the script. So say, for example, if the signature which I have done over here is very near to the script, or is it a little away from the script, or is it far away from the script? That is what I mean by vertical placement. Okay, how much the with what degree the person wants to be associated with the content written over here, right? And when the sign is placed very close to the script, it indicates that the person wants to be closely bound with the script. Now, vertical placement, the very first one. So we are, please don't get confused again. I'm speaking about the vertical placement, this particular point. This particular point I'm going to speak right now. Okay. So signature placed very close to the script, it indicates that the person wants to be identified with the group. There are many people who would like to identify with the company's name. That is the work. their workplace followed by their name. Okay. These people have a certain sense of insecurity and like to stay very close to the group. Their individual identification for such kind of people is a little low, and they're more comfortable in a crowd. So even if it is such kind of people find it difficult to speak in front of a crowd. The crowd could be just of 20 people or like 500 people. They are not comfortable speaking in front of the crowd. They'll always be a part of the group. Probably they would be giving some kind of small insights to the group to enhance or build the group a little more better. But these people are not someone who are comfortable coming in front of the crowd and speaking in front of the crowd, right? So that's point number one. So this I'm speaking for the vertical placement and the signature, which is very close to the script. Now, a vertical placement which moves a little away from the script, which means now I'm going to speak about signature, vertical signature 2. If the person's times here first time and then below 2 times. So this becomes placement number 2. Now, for placement number 2, this indicates that the person is wanting to seek an identity in the society. They want their own identity. They are the people who would be good in group as well as an individual. So even if I am associated with Psycho Shiksha for a couple of years right now, I also have a separate identity of mine, right? I could be a musician or a Bharatanatyam dancer or a technical writer or any other kind of thing. So, despite having being associated with a group called Psycho Shiksha, I also have a separate identity as a human being by my name called Sneha, right? So, this is how it actually works. Now, as the signature moves lower, the person is trying to indicate a desire for separation for individuality. Apart from the world of involvement with the family or the club or the association, etc., they want their own identity. So even if I work in a corporate, I would also work in a CSR activity. But this CSR activity part is not known to the corporate. And these CSR people do not know that I work in corporate. Corporate people do not know that I work for CSR. So I have kept two separate identities altogether. That is what I'm speaking about. Now, these kind of people are quite adaptable. They also like to be social with people, and they also like to be a little introvert as well. As and when need arises, they are quite adaptable to being in a group and working solo as well, right? Now, also, these people have a visibility as an individual while working within the context of the group. Now, there are some people whom you would find, despite they being working in a group, they still have their separate identity as a human being or as an individual. So that is what I am speaking about for placement number 2, vertical placement number 2 over here. Okay. Now, a picture which is or a signature which is distanced away from the script, completely away. So this I am speaking about this third part, the third vertical placement. So this the person signs here for the first time and then below this another 2 times. That is how it works, right? Now, for this, a script which is a signature which is away from the script means it is an exaggeration. The writer is trying to seek an identity as a person. This could also mean that the writer is not very comfortable with whatever they have written on the script or whatever they have written on the paper. They do not wish to identify or they do not wish to put any relationship with what they have written, right? They show a desire to run away from the written script. Now, over here, I personally feel these are the people who would give you promises, but when time arises to fulfill that promise or to complete that promise, they are nowhere. They say, no, I never said that, right? So these are such kind of people. So now when you are analyzing this particular person's handwriting, obviously this is a negative trait of not identifying their signature with whatever script they have written above. So this becomes a complete negative trait. Now, when this is a complete negative trait, uh, we cannot make our clients, or if at all you come across such kind of client, we cannot make them know upfront, or make them feel offended by saying that you do not wish to identify with your script because your signature is so and so, or the placement of the signature is so and so. So this is not something that we need to do. We need to make them understand that the importance why they need to sign at a certain placement, and why this particular signing this like this is a little is comes under the negative trait. This we need to understand. That's point number one. Point number two, we need to let them or convey them our point, but in a very manipulative way, or in a very uh, polite way, where they understand and they realize what mistake they're doing. Okay. In a hurry, if you say, oh, you are the one who, gives promises earlier, and then later when the time comes to fulfill them, you are the one who says, no, I never said such kind of thing. So we cannot say this directly on face upfront to your client. I personally feel you can be a little more manipulative, saying that, uh, sir or ma'am, actually, I personally feel, looking at your signature, that by for some or the other reason, uh, you make promises, but when the time comes to fulfill them, there is some problem that arises, and you are not able to fulfill those promises that you have done. So I would recommend you to, keep your word and fulfill the promises that you have made. It could be the promises could be done for yourself, or promises could be done for somebody else. But see to it, or try fulfilling uh, those promises. So if you say such kind of words in a polite manner, I'm sure people will not be offended. So we need to keep this in mind very, very, very particularly. So I hope this vertical placement is clear to everybody over here. Let's just take a break of just 2 minutes and we'll be back. Okay, so I am back. Let's move to the next chapter. Uh, since vertical placement is now being explained to you, we are going to move to the horizontal placement. I'm sharing my screen again. Let me just know if it is visible to all of you. Okay. Now comes the horizontal placement. Now, horizontal placement speaks about the amount of risk appetite you have, or a person has, depending upon the horizontal placement. Okay. So, horizontal placement, as I've already spoken about over here, this becomes uh, point number one, where the person signs, and from here, the person signs twice again. So, this is point number one, horizontal placement. Okay. Now, a sign positioned midway between center line and the right margin of the script indicates good risk appetite without crossing too many boundaries. So, horizontal placement, this indicates, now as you can see this picture over here, it indicates a desire for safety, securing the known or the familiar, the traditional, and the past. These people do not want to take any risks, come what may. They would rather interact or transact with known people. So you won't find such kind of people interacting with people in the metro if they're traveling for the first time. These people are the ones who would, even if a stranger comes and asks them for a particular address, they'll say, no, I don't know. Despite they knowing, they'll avoid speaking to strangers. Now, very important thing that we all need to remember is this is something which the placement is something which we are speaking about is uh, in a informal letter or the informal content that is written. This horizontal placement or vertical placement cannot be applied to any kind of formal or business letters which has certain kind of format that uh, we have been following. So if at all somebody comes to you asking or saying that, this is my formal business letter or business proposal and this is my signature, so please uh, ma- do the analysis of my signature. Politely, please say no, this is not possible. You will have to make your official signature 3 times in front below the content is to be written. Also, another point that everybody needs to remember is, in any case, you are not going to give your client to copy something from the newspaper or from a storybook, or the person is not supposed to write a story sitting in front of you or a poem. Okay. The person has to put up their own thoughts on the paper for a particular topic. This is the very basic rule that we all need to remember as a graphologist or a signature analyst. Because whenever and also another thing that we all need to remember is, any session, be it your signature analysis session or be it your handwriting analysis signature, we need to understand that this has to be always done in one-on-one. I am not going to analyze 10 people's handwriting when there are 10 people sitting. No, I will analyze my student's handwriting by making him or her sit right in front of me. At that time, I am not going to have other 10 students of mine in front of me. It's just one-on-one session, right? And being a graphologist or a handwriting analyst or a signature analyst is, we need to understand this part that over a period of time, after we analyze certain amount of signatures or certain amount of content or handwritings of people, we need to understand the we need to understand what to convey to the client and how to convey it to the client. Now, the what and how is something that we get to know. It is a skill that we need to develop over a period of time, and it is an art that we need to develop. It is not some kind of science that we are developing. Science is something that you know the positive and negative traits of the person, but how to convey, how and what to convey to the person, this becomes the art. So this is the science, and over a period of time, this becomes the art, right? So please understand the difference in between these two things. You should not convey each and everything that comes to your mind about the signature or about the person. You should convey each and everything, but in a polite and positive way, in a way where the person is not offended. And this is something takes time, and this is an art, right? So please remember this point, irrespective of whichever ma- ma- handwriting you are analyzing or whichever signature you are analyzing. Please remember this part. Also, another thing that I would like to mention over here is there is a difference between uh, there is a difference between a signature and an autograph. These are two different things. Celebrities, when they sign for their fans, that becomes an autograph. Whereas a celebrity, when is signing a legal document, that becomes their official signature. So please remember the difference between an autograph and a signature. It's very important. Now, let's get back to horizontal placement. A position slightly better than the first one. These writers seek a lot of security and are scared of taking any kind of risks. So this is, the signature is between the middle and the left side. So it is not to the extreme left, it is not to the extreme right, it is somewhere in between the left margin and the not completely in the center. Now, the second position, the third horizontal placement speaks about this indicates the person who is balanced and adaptable, neither a coward nor a great risk taker. This writer adopts a conventional signature placement taught in many schools. This writer does nothing to rock the boat. They do not like to make any kind of waves. This is they accept the responsibility or remain quiet. They are both, and they try to analyze each situation and then act accordingly. So this could be said as a neutral trait or maybe a positive trait. I'm not saying a complete positive trait. This could be a neutral trait. The reason being they know when and where and how to act. Looking at the situation accordingly, they are able to act, which is not the case with everybody. Okay. Also, wherever need requires, they are ready to take the responsibility, and wherever need requires, they're ready to remain quiet as well. So there's a difference. Now, the last position speaks about uh, the signature, which is extreme right. Now, this person again is exaggeration, and this person does not like to wait for anything or anybody. They're impatient. They are willing to take the responsibility, but not necessary that they'll be able to fulfill the responsibility. They're cooperative and ready to contribute to the group. They, if there is some kind of failure, they are ready to accept the brunt of it. But to do all these things, not necessary that they will be able to complete the given task. Okay. So this is about horizontal placement and vertical placement. Now, for today, I'm just going to stop over here. The reason being, I do not wish to bombard all of you with lot of knowledge. Um, let's stop over here and just revise. Let's just revise what all we have done. So the very first thing is signature is the public image that the person wants. It's signature is a public image. Signature is something that the person consciously does every time the person does it. Signature is something that the person wants the world to know what they are. This is what we get to know from the signature. Signature, through signature, the we get to know about the person's risk-taking appetite, and if the person is introvert or extrovert, right? We also are have spoken about the vertical placement and the horizontal placement of the signatures. Now, when it comes to the vertical placement, there are three different types: position one, position two, and position three, and what it indicates. For horizontal placement, position one, two, and three, what exactly it speaks about. So this is about signature and signature analysis that we have done. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. Now, the only thing that we all need to understand or need to realize is that uh, any signature analyst needs to remember uh, 2 to 3 points. The first point is whenever you are analyzing anybody's signature, it has to be done completely one on one. It cannot be done in front of 10 other people or in front of a crowd. No, it has to be done one on one. Point number two, whenever you are analyzing anybody's signature, even though we know each and every point, be it positive and negative, we need to convey it in such a manner that the person does not feel offended or does not or the person doesn't feel that their feelings have been hurt, right? And point number three, what and how to convey about the negative traits to your client is an art. This science is something, you know, the positive and negative traits, conveying it properly without hurting anybody's feelings becomes an art. So from science, we are moving towards the art. That is how it actually should be. Okay. Now, if anybody has any doubts regarding this particular part, or any doubts regarding what you have learned right now in signature analysis, you can put down in the comment section below. I will answer them all by myself, or as and when uh, time permits me to do that. Other than that, another disclaimer for signature analysis is, signatures is something which is always analyzed along with the handwriting or the content written. So the weightage always is 80 and 20. 80 for the content, 20 for the signature. Now, when I am saying about signature is just 20%, that does not mean that I haven't, I am not going to teach you the rest of the 80%. I am not going to teach you any which ways. But this 20% that I'm going to teach you is something deep and insightful knowledge. So please do not feel disheartened that, oh, ma'am is just going to teach 20%. See to it that you take away this entire 20% that I'm teaching to you, or I will be teaching to you in the next 2 to 3 days. Also, um, with 20% of what you are going to learn right now, that also has lot many aspects. Like, say for example, there could be people who just write their middle name and not and their surname, they do not write their initials, or they write their initials and they do not write their surname, right? So there are many different fallouts or many different types in which people sign. So I'm going to speak about all of them in the next coming slides or the videos. Then another part that we all need to remember is with signature analysis is, there are uh, many people always have this habit of, drawing some kind of things after putting up a signature, after doing the signature. So what does that mean? There are some things called as flourishes or accessories. There is something like people, draw a line below their signature. There are some people who would be encircling their signature. There could be some people who would be drawing dots after their signature. So all these things I'm going to speak in the next coming videos. So please pay attention, and hope you all have understood what I've taught right now for today. Yeah. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.